guys, it's Bridget. I wanted to do a quick video and compare and review a couple different hole punches that I've been using for my agendas and give my opinion on which is the best hole punch for agendas. The answer that I've come up with may actually surprise you. It surprised me when I had a little bit of an aha moment when I was doing some punching of some inserts. So I'll share that with you as soon as I run through the review and a quick demonstration of each. The first punch here is made by Rapesco. I purchased both of these on Amazon Prime, and I'll try to leave the links in the description below. But this, as you can see, is shorter than the other punch in length. They both are advertised to punch A5. They both can also punch the smaller agenda sizes. So for the Louis Vuitton agendas, these will both work for the PM, the MM, and the GM sizes, which corresponds to the personal, pocket, and A5 size in Filofax or other brands. Both are similar in that you just have to apply a little force on the back and just press the hole punches to move them in the slots to change position depending on what size you are punching. For the A5 size, these just need to be positioned as far as they will move toward each end, and it is the same for this longer punch. You can move them in very easily and then slide them back out completely for A5. This was the box that the longer punch came in. I did not save the box for the Rapesco punch, but it was packaged very similarly in just a simple cardboard box. So the main difference in the uses of these punches comes into play with the A5 size. For the two smaller sizes, you can punch all 6 holes at the same time on either punch. But for A5, I'm going to show you real quick the difference here. This is a piece of A5 paper, and it is exact A5 size. This is a piece of traditional copy paper, 8.5 by 11, that I folded in half. And I'm showing the difference because some inserts that you may order for A5 may come in what they call half letter size instead of true A5 size, and the half letter will fit in an A5 agenda or a GM agenda, desk agenda, but there is a slight difference in the sizing. And so if you stack the 2 pages, you can see that the half letter is slightly taller than the A5 and more narrow. So the A5 is just a little bit shorter and a little bit wider than the half letter size. The difference in height comes into play when you're using the Rapesco punch. So for an exact A5 size, to use the Rapesco, if you notice on the front there's a little hash mark here that's pre-printed that says A5. And what you do is take your A5 paper, slide it in, and line up the top edge of the paper with the hash mark on the front of the punch, and you press down. That punches your top 3 holes. When you flip the paper and repeat the process on the other side, it will provide all 6 holes punched in the appropriate position for A5. The paper will fit like so in the Rapesco, but if you press it and punch all 6 holes at the same time, they are not going to be in proper alignment for A5. So to get an accurate A5 punch out of the Rapesco, it is a 2-step process. You do 3, flip the page, and then do the other 3. Now if you're using half letter inserts or half a piece of paper and you repeat the same process, what you'll see is your alignment is going to be slightly off for A5 because of the difference in the height of the paper. So you'll see that the holes line up on the bottom, but on the top three, they are slightly out of alignment, and it's just enough that it won't fit the rings properly. So that's just something to consider. It does not mean that you could not use the Rapesco to punch half letter paper. You would just need to measure that distance and make a new hash mark on the punch to use for half letter sizes. But for either half letter or A5 in the longer punch, you just align the paper inside, and there are no guides or markings on either end of the longer punch. So when you put your paper in, I just kind of eyeball the ends and just make sure that it looks like it's fairly even visually, and then press to punch, and you've got all 6 punched at the same time. And if you look at the A5 paper, you'll notice that they are in perfect alignment and will fit in your A5 or GM agenda with one punch. So the same with the half letter size on the longer punch. Because it is longer and the holes are already in alignment, if you just visually make sure that the ends look even, press one time, then you are left with all 6 holes punched together, and they do line up with your agenda. So it would appear that for A5 punching, the longer punch would be the simplest, easiest kind of, you know, the answer for everything. But my aha moment that I had recently when I was using these is if you're only going to be punching a few sheets at a time, maybe up to 4 or 5 sheets, then if you used either of these punches, you would get a good result. And obviously this punch would give you a quicker result because it's a one-step process. However, if you are going to be punching in volume several sheets at a time, what I noticed is, because there are no guides or marking on this longer punch, if you were doing stacks of 4 to 5 sheets at a time and just kind of eyeballing the ends to make sure they're even and punching, what you can end up with when you put all of your stacks together is, if your eyeballing is slightly off on any of the stacks, your punches are going to line up properly and fit the rings. But what you would see in that case, what you could possibly see, is that the bottom of your paper may not all line up flush. So you may end up with some uneven edges at the top and bottom of your stack. And personally, that would drive me up a wall. So if I'm just punching a few sheets, up to 4 or 5 sheets, then either punch will work. But if I'm going to be punching in bulk and doing several sheets at a time, even though this Rapesco requires a 2-step process for A5, I would still prefer to use it because you have that exact alignment here, and you know that the holes are going to end up in the same position no matter how many stacks you're punching. So if that makes any sense, I hope it does. With the Rapesco, if you punched a large stack, you would be more likely to end up with a situation like this where your pages are all even on the end and lined up perfectly. If you choose to use the longer punch and just eyeball it, then you just have a risk of the pages not being completely flush and being somewhat out of alignment at the top and bottom of the pages. So it's really a matter of personal preference. If that doesn't bother you, the pages being out of alignment, then this would definitely be the answer for a quicker punching process. But if you want all of your pages in a large stack to be flush and in perfect alignment, then this Rapesco actually is, in my opinion, the way to go. So this one I purchased first, and I was not expecting it to be a two-step process for A5, so initially I was a little disappointed. But once I figured it out, you know, I was able to use it. When I learned about this one and being able to punch all 6 holes at the same time, obviously I was excited and thought, oh, it's going to make everything so much quicker. So I did order it, and I was thinking that when this punch came in that I could just, it would replace the Rapesco and I could just get rid of this one. But I will actually be keeping and using both, and if I just want to add one small section of punching in my binder, then I'll use this one. But if I'm going to be doing bulk punching several inserts or stack of paper, I will still be using the Rapesco. So just my thoughts. There's no right or wrong. They're both very easy to operate. They're affordable in my opinion. They were both available on Amazon Prime, so quick free shipping on each, and they're both very easy to empty as well. They have this kind of rubbery plasticky sleeve on the bottom that collects the punch holes, and so when that fills up, you just simply pop that completely off, dump it in the trash, and pop it right back on. That's the same process for both. So probably 4 to 5 sheets at a time is all I would recommend. I'm not sure what they recommend in their literature, but you know, sometimes punches will say it can take up to 8 pieces of paper at a time. You do, however, risk if they get kind of caught up, having some ripping or getting stuck in the punch. So I would suggest with each punch not doing more than 4 to 5 sheets at a time, just so you definitely get a clean punch each time. I will leave some links in the description on how to purchase each of these punches. I will also try to leave a couple links of some A5, exact A5 size paper that I have found on Amazon that just makes the whole printing and punching inserts process seem to go a little smoother if you're not having to manually cut or trim the paper from a regular size piece of paper. I have a link for these blank A5 white sheets of paper, as well as the Fabriano notebooks. These have a nice dot grid that's pre-printed on front and back of each page. They are exact A5 size as well, and they are glue bound, but they are extremely easy to pull out, and you end up getting a nice clean edge. You can feed this directly into your printer and print on A5, and depending on your situation and your needs, you can either punch with the Rapesco like so, or you could punch with the longer punch. So there you go. Quick and easy. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments below. And thanks for watching.